All right, here we are. We are live. All right, this is so good. Hey, my name is Zach Sopak, and if you're joining this stream, we haven't met before. Hi, nice to meet you. I am a content creator. Basically, that just means I do video creation, YouTube, photography, graphic design, all these different types of things. And here on YouTube, particularly, I love doing photo and video tutorials and even stuff about just YouTube life and the YouTube creative life. And part of that is live streaming. I think live streaming is one of the most fun things that you could possibly do here on YouTube, and I'm going to have a nice bit of stuff to talk about today when it comes to the topic of live streaming. So if you're here, let me know in the chat, and if you get value out of this video at any point in time, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and add some value right back to this video. And I think I'm gonna just jump right in to the content of this stream. I'm noticing right now there's a mess here in the back. 1 second. Mess no more. So, like I said, live streaming is extremely fun for creators here on the platform. I think that live streaming affords you a lot of really cool stuff that you just kind of can't get otherwise. Like, you get that real-time feedback, you get to have all of this different just real tangible in-depth experience with your audience. So I just love doing live streams. It's a great exercise for me too, to just see if I can talk to myself if nobody joins in the chat, and then just have a conversation or talk about a subject for a period of time. So it's always a good time. I want to see who's here. The JS says hi. What's going on? Is that the JS or is that J's? The J's. Just want to say hi to you. Hope you're doing really well today. So like I said, I wanted to chat about live streaming, and first of all, like, why would you want to live stream? I feel like why is really important. I think, again, you get that nice tangible experience with your audience. You get that real-time feedback. You get to have just a more in-depth conversation, a little unscripted, a little bit more raw and authentic, and I think that really resonates with your audience. So today, for the live stream setup that I've got going on, a little bit of crazy hair, we've got camera one here, and then joining us for the second time, am running for this live stream. So if you're interested in anything that I mention, I do have links down below for you to check out. And also I have some recommendations too if someone was just getting started with live streaming. So I've already talked about why I think live streaming is really great. A ton of people are audio camera too. Oh, did I not add my audio? We're doing this on the fly. 1 second. All right. Oh, how about that? Oh, it's too loud now. Okay, how about now? Hopefully sounding okay. All right. Let me know, please. Thank you for shouting that out, Ryan. Yeah, this is the fun thing about live stream too. You get to make mistakes and people can watch it. People get to watch your mistakes unfold. I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of things stress-wise that kind of like ride on you quite like doing a live stream, because unless you're actually watching and like getting feedback, like I'll make sure that I'm streaming on my phone, but oh man, like, you don't know if this stuff is like fully working until you actually get it going. So again, we have camera one, camera two, which is now getting audio, and hopefully it's getting audio from, yes it is. Okay, it's getting audio from this guy, which is great. So we have this kind of set up. showing off my setup here, which really in theory is pretty simple. And I'll just break down quickly what I'm using here for this stream. So I have my 2013. This is my 13-inch MacBook Pro. It's the M1 chip, brand new, from Apple. Loving it. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's got 1 terabyte of storage. So that is the brain of everything. I'm currently running a software called OBS. If you're interested in learning about OBS, it's how I'm doing all these transitions. It's how I've got all this stuff set up. I did just do a video about it on my channel, so I have that link down below as well if you're interested in learning about OBS, how to get it set up real easily for beginning stream stuff. So running OBS, and then this is just a USB-C dongle, because if you have a MacBook, you know, MacBook life. So I have that, and then I'm just getting power, which I'm running. It's a little bit of a mess with the wires, but really the heart and soul of all this are these HDMI captures, which I have linked down in the description. Give you a little close up here if we can get some focus. Just trying to focus on my face. How about that? Boom. So this guy is really awesome. It's like a $20 capture card. If sometimes you can actually find it for cheaper. There's a few different companies that make them, but if you get one that looks like this, it's really, really good. It's what I'm using to stream with both cameras. It'll give you a 1080p image out, which for live stream is pretty decent enough, I would say. And it can do up to 30 frames per second, which is kind of what we're running with today. It's like a 30 frames per second setup. Actually, this camera might be set on 24, but it kind of looks like 30, you know. Anyway, so I'm running 2 of those, and they don't come with some. I think one of them comes with this extension. The reason why I have this extension is because this dongle for my MacBook is not quite wide enough. These are USB 2.0, and they don't fit next to each other on my MacBook. So I have a little extension that goes USB 2.0 to receiving 2.0 from the card, and then out from there to HDMI. And these cameras take micro HDMI. So I have this one is just a regular HDMI to micro HDMI. This one here is regular HDMI, and then I'm getting a converter that's getting on that one there. So that's how that's working. And then my audio here is Rode Video Micro, and I use this little extension cable, and it's running around into my Sony a7 III, which is the audio source that you're hearing right now. And so those are, you know, the cables that are running up. So this is pretty much how I set up all my live streaming stuff. It's really simple and easy if you already have cameras, and of course if you have nice lenses, know how to set everything up, white balance and everything. Really, really helpful. So if you have any questions in the chat, hey, Corey Bowles is here. What's going on? Good to see you, my friend. If you have any questions in the chat about any of the gear or anything in general specific to live stream, or maybe outside of the topic of live streaming, that is totally fine. I'll do my best to answer them for you. I'm going to continue on just talking about a little bit more of this setup here. One thing that's really important, regardless of what kind of camera you have, is lighting. Lighting is very important to any sort of, I mean, when it comes to photo, video, and video also being live streaming, lighting is important. I mean, even for your Zoom meetings, for your FaceTimes, all that sort of stuff, lighting will make the biggest difference in your image quality. So I've also got a video on lighting that I did on my channel, but the thing about lighting is that you can actually take cameras that maybe don't look quite as good on paper. Even though I have this, you know, nice MacBook down here, it only has a 720p webcam, which is pretty sad. But if you light your subject, being me, if you light yourself well enough, or your environment, you can actually get a pretty good look with it, and it actually gets the most out of your gets the most out of your camera. So lighting's really important. You can even have a really nice camera and a really nice lens like I have here and like I have on the other one. But if you can't light your scenes well, it's not gonna look very good. So going back to here, we've got this camera just kind of giving you a little idea of what I've got. So I've got this main light here, this key light. This is a Photo Deox flapjack. I think I got it down in the description if you're interested to check it out. It's a really nice light. It's already got a built-in like diffusion, so I don't have to add any sort of additional softbox to give me a nice soft light. That's kind of doing the main stuff here on the right side of my face. And then on the left side here, I have this little aperture M9 light that I talk about all the time. I just had it turned it off. This is before, not bad. And then after. Just kind of helps to fill in the shadows a little bit. Let me take it off here. We can do a little demonstration on camera too. So it's this little guy, which is, it's at its lowest setting, but it's pretty stinking bright. And it's got a little piece of a diffusion kind of card on it. And it's really nice because you can throw in different gels. So you can use this as like a warmer light. You can use it as a cooler light or whatever color your heart desires. So I love this light. They have also from Aperture the MC, which I think I put down below. That's an RGB version of this light. And, you know, if you're looking for an RGB light that does a lot of stuff, I recommend that one, or the Pixel light, which is under my list of recommendations down below. So it's kind of nice, just helping to make sure that I'm well lit enough. And a few things that you can't quite see. I've got a light over here to my left that's shooting the blue on the back wall. And then I've got another light here. It's kind of doing this little hair light situation on me. And then the one light in the back, that's my LifeX smart bulb, which I'll show you some cool stuff with that. All this stuff, it's just adding, right? It's just adding to the scene. It's adding to the overall feel of everything. I'm just going to my LifeX app. So like here, it's kind of tough to tell with the exposure, but I can change on command the colors of the lights. So fun stuff here. I can turn it on, turn it off. Rip. Yep, there you go. I can reduce the power and we'll do something like that. Why not? Something like, yeah, why not? Something like that. Bring it up a little bit. So anyway, lighting, it's a big deal. It's really important to have some good lighting. All right, I'm gonna get here to the chat just to see what people are saying here. Draw and art, nice to see you, my friend. Can you please let me know how we can add up more professional graphical visuals in our YouTube videos? So for graphics, visual stuff, like text animations, intros, I typically use anything from Motion VFX. I do have that linked down below if you're interested in checking them out. Motion VFX, especially for Final Cut users, I do believe their plugins work for Premiere and maybe DaVinci as well. They have just, in my opinion, the most professional looking templates. They look awesome. I think their packs are somewhere around like $80 or so. But when you consider in the grand scheme of things what you're getting, how much time it's saving, how professional it's making your videos look, I would really suggest checking out Motion VFX. Like I said, I do have it linked below. I use their stuff all over my videos, and they run a lot of sales quite often. So that's something worth checking out. All right. Are you running any audio software through your microphone, like compression or denoise? I am actually not. No, this is just straight in to the camera. And then let me just verify that that's true. I don't think I'm running anything else. I did reduce the volume a little bit because I kind of have it coming hot into the camera, but I'm going to check on OBS. No, this is just straight through raw audio. This is the Rode Video Micro. The one difference is I do have the windscreen on here, which is helping to kind of like reduce the like poppy, like I think plosives is what it's called. So it's helping to reduce a lot of that for the overall sound. But literally it's just this mic running around, cables going over straight into the camera, and it's just this raw audio. So it's a great microphone. I use it for every single YouTube video. So if you watch my YouTube videos, I mean, when I do the YouTube videos, I do run a bit of compression. I run a little bit of EQ because this mic's not perfect. So I kind of sweeten up some frequencies and I cut out some frequencies I don't like. I also, for my voice, the way my S's come out are a little harsh. So I kind of have to like cut out like the high end sound from my S's. But anyway, yeah, so Rode Video Micro, just right into the camera. Let's see, do you need a good mic? Are you asking if I need a good mic? Because there's some mics that I would really love. Do you necessarily need a good mic for live streaming? Not necessarily. There's definitely some stuff that you could do even with, I mean, let's be honest. So you can stream on your phone, right? You don't have to have like the most sophisticated, like this is kind of overkill, I think, maybe for a lot of people. And this isn't even like scratching the surface of what you can really do. Like you can really throw money into like a hard switcher where it's got buttons and you can do all this stuff manually. There are much nicer capture cards as well. There are ones that do 4K, run at a higher refresh rate, frames per second. But let's be honest, so like you can do this on your phone. And even if you were using like your phone's microphone, or if you got an adapter to plug in a microphone to your phone, there's some sound treatment things that you can do to make your audio sound better. I did do a video about audio as well. If you're interested, go to my channel and check it out. I think, and I just gave some really practical tips, like get the microphone close to you. Try to like absorb some of the sound if you're in a really noisy room. My room here has carpet on the floors, so that definitely helps. We have a big couch back here that it helps to absorb some of the sound. But then I'll oftentimes set up a blanket kind of like on this wall to absorb some of that noise. And it tends to help quite a bit. So that's some stuff to consider. You don't necessarily need the best mic. There are a couple of good mics for around like $40. I think this mic is around 60. That's kind of like where you would want to, I wouldn't go any less than that personally. You know, there's like a Movo something or other. There's a one called a Tascar. Let me see. I'll actually go through. We can find it together because we have the technology after I switch around to all my stuff here. Well, that's not what I wanted. One second here. I mean, now you can see like all the people viewing, and that's fine. Desktop. There we go. Again, this whole live element stuff, you know, you just don't get this everywhere. Okay, so let's check out a couple mics that I'd suggest. There's a Movo microphone that's kind of like a slightly discounted version of this Rode Video Micro. And it's, I think I mentioned it in the audio video that I referenced earlier. This one here, $39.95, $40. It's got a ton of great reviews. I think that this would be a really good way to go if you're getting started. Want to save $20, sounds really good. The other one that is like infamous is this Tascar Shotgun Mic. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to have a really nice camera or even like a real deal camera. You could even just get an adapter and plug this into your phone and it would really step up your audio quality. So this guy's even less expensive, $30, still has great reviews. I think this one's powered, so it requires a battery on it. Kind of like big and bulky. The other one doesn't require power. This mic that I'm using doesn't require power. But this thing sounds really, really good. So those would be two suggestions for some mics just to kind of get you started if you're looking to kind of not break the bank in what you got going on there for microphone. The reflector in the back looks sick sitting. Yeah, it's cool. I just have kind of been like throwing this in the background, just to do some stuff with it. I don't know. Otherwise, I'm gonna ball it up and put it somewhere else, but kind of hide some of the mess over there. And yeah, it's a nice little bit of reflection. I could be using it as like diffusion or a bounce, whatever, but nah, I'm not really doing that right now. But yes, thank you. I thought it was a nice touch too. Let's see. Yes, plosives. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what's on top of the A7 III? Going back here. So what's on top of this here is actually a little mirror. And I actually have one over here too. I'm going to take it off and then I'm going to not be able to see my reflection. And then I'm actually going to grab this one too. These things are really bomb. Coming back. Hang tight. Okay. So these guys, what are these? Well, these are made, I think, by the same like sort of parent company. This one says UU This one says Ulanzi. I did a video. What's in my camera bag? I've talked about this new one. I did a video about like how to use the A7 III to vlog like some time ago, and I used this one. They basically do the same thing though. So what it is, you can kind of see here, it's a mirror and it's got this angle so that if you're a Sony user without a flip out screen, so if you don't have like one of the newest ones, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this sits on the hot shoe of your camera, and then your LCD screen, when you flip it like out this way, it shoots into this and then it reflects the image out onto this mirror. So then when you're holding it out, it reflects that image back to you. Sorry, I'm trying to get my perspective right here. So if like I'm here, but underneath, like let's say this is my camera settings where my fingers are down here, you can see that little bit of reflection. So this is really cool. I think it's like 20 bucks. No, not even 20 bucks for this one. I think it was like 16. This one in particular, the UU selfie mirror. This is like plastic, and it does give you 3 hot shoe mounts. So that's pretty nice because this takes up your hot shoe on your camera. So I did a video about that if you want to check it out. And then in my What's in My Camera Bag video I did recently, I featured this one, which is the Ulanzi. I think it's like the same company basically. And this is a little bit more thought out version. Hey, look, you can actually see kind of like my computer screen. But this one here, it's adjustable and it gives you 2 hot shoes that you can actually turn and have it be in different directions. And this also goes on the hot shoe and then it folds up some way. There it goes. So then you can actually fold it up. But this one's really nice. It's made out of metal. So like it's like really solid metal, and I love it. So I use these just to make sure that I can frame myself properly. Right now I'm cheating with OBS on my monitor down here on my computer. But now I can look up and see that like now my hand's in focus and, you know, just see all the stuff that's going on. So that's what that is on top of the camera. If you're a Sony user, if you're trying to film yourself at all, put that one on the A7 III. Oh, I see. Yeah, the nicer one. I did have the nicer one on the other camera over here just because it was at a little bit of a weirder angle and I just wanted to make sure that it looked right. But for reference, I'll add this guy. So I can set it on there. Then I do think this one, this newer one, gets you a little bit more of a decent viewing angle. So in theory, or in essence, evanescence, you could use this for sort of like a vlog situation if you wanted to see yourself. I know that I thought for a while when I first got this that I thought it was going to be a little too overboard and ridiculous to have like my camera and then this thing on top and then have a shotgun microphone attached to this. But if you think about it, if you're already vlogging with a camera and then you have a microphone on top, it's already a little bit like out there. So, you know, it's not that much more ridiculous or crazy. I've vlogged with it before and I thought, okay, this isn't as bad as what I thought it was. So yeah, little helpful tools. I use these all the time whenever I'm recording my videos here. Another cool thing too is that you can actually like, you can mount microphone on one side, you can mount like a light on the other side, and you can do like other cool stuff. I got this little cheap light here. So like you could put that on the side while, well, I don't think you'd want to RGB, but you can put it on the side and then have it all, you know, together. So nice to have, nice to have. So let me check real quick, see what else we got here in the chat. Yeah, so that's the Ulanzi one right there. There you go, coach plugged in. So that's what we got going. As you can see on my computer screen, I'm kind of like going back and forth between the browser so I can see the chat, and then I'm going back to OBS. But OBS is so powerful. I love that you can set up all the different scenes. It's a free program. I actually have the program linked down below too as well, just in case you wanted to download it for yourself, just start playing with it, messing around with it. Does these nice little transitions. Now there are definitely pieces of equipment like the Blackmagic ATEM minis, like those little things, they have like actual buttons. You can just cut camera to camera, which is cool. But I don't want to spend like 300 bucks or 400, 500 bucks, however much it is to get one of those things right now. So for a free program, and because I already have cameras with lenses, I have 2 capture cards that maybe all in cost me $35 with a free program. I already am using a microphone that I had, and that gets me this type of results, which I think look pretty good. I'm curious to know who else is live streaming. Have you been live streaming? Do you live stream? I really just love the fact that we can just have kind of this like real-time interactions with each other to just, you know, do all this stuff. All right, King of Heroes, can you suggest some good video editing apps on mobile? So I would say for mobile, the one, I mean, there's obviously like iMovie, there's Adobe Rush, but I think you have to pay a subscription for that one, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I would say for LumaFusion, I think LumaFusion between, yeah, there you go. LumaFusion between iPads, iPhones, it seems to be the most sophisticated looking app. I mean, I've seen some videos where people like edited entire YouTube videos that were shot on, you know, even if you have like a nice, like let's say you have a decent camera, you got a DSLR, you got a mirrorless camera or something like that, but you just don't have a nice computer. You can do full edits on LumaFusion. I think you can do like color grading really well. You can do presets, you can do audio, you can drop in audio tracks, do like keyframing in and out. I think that LumaFusion seems to be the most sophisticated version of like a mobile / iPad editing app. And I think it's only a one-time purchase. Don't quote me on that. I think it is though. And, you know, if you think about how much money you get for it, I used to be so stingy when it came to apps and stuff. But I mean, if it even saves you a little bit of time, like over the course of, you know, let's say a year, how many times are you going to use the app? Well, if you're going to use it a lot, then just buy the thing instead of like doing these like little workarounds that'll probably cost you more money and time and effort. So I used to use Splice on my phone. Not sure if it's still free. I did use Splice for a little bit. as well. And it looks like Adobe Rush, you have to have an account. So there you go. You can take a sip of water real quick. Let's go to camera 2. Get a nice angle of this, yeah. All right, I like the second camera. It's nice to have. Okay, so another question I want to get to here. Go back to this screen. All right, I'm sorry if you're hearing my stomach. My stomach's going crazy because I haven't eaten breakfast yet this morning, and it's 8:25, so I guess it's a little, my stomach's just yelling at me. And I also need a cup of coffee so bad, but we're powering through. We're doing this. It's a one-time purchase for LumaFusion. Need a tutorial to look at. Okay, there you go. Check out Coach Plugged In. He's got it for you. All right, Coach Plugged In also asked, what do you use to edit your videos in? I edit my videos in Final Cut Pro. I've not for any particular like reason, except it's what I learned on, and in what little, I'll say little experience. I'm not saying like I've tried them all and Final Cut's the best, but in what little experience I've had with just editing, ease of use, with user like integration, and just, you know, can I do something simply? I feel like it's the best in my limited experience. I tried Premiere like very briefly, like maybe a couple of days some years ago, and I just did not like it. I felt like to do the simplest of tasks was like a minimum like 5 steps or 3 to 5 steps. Like the other day I was trying to help somebody with like a multicam clip, and they didn't have Final Cut on their computer, so I was trying to help them do it in Premiere, and it was like 7 steps, where if I'm doing a multicam in Final Cut, I just right click and I hit multicam. Like it was so easy, so easy. So I use Final Cut because I feel like it's easiest, it's quick, especially now. I kind of like really bought in with this new MacBook because this 13-inch with the new processing chip gets really good results with Final Cut. It's quick renders, quick exporting. I feel like it's just really intuitive. Now I'll say from a color grading perspective, it's not the most sophisticated, or even with some of the stuff with audio. I think probably Premiere with some of extensions with Adobe Audition, I think, is the audio one. And then really, if you're DaVinci Resolve seems to kind of be like the one that marries the two worlds of like, here's kind of a fun, easy to use interface with kind of like what Final Cut has on its timeline, and then it kind of blends that with Premiere and like the other great things that Premiere is known for, that it does super well. So yeah, but I use Final Cut, and I've said this before, it doesn't matter if you use Final Cut, Adobe, DaVinci, you could use Sony Vegas, you could use LumaFusion, Splice, whatever it is that you use. It's just what kind of results can you get from it. It's not even so much the tools that you have, it's just what kind of results can you get. So what I do, I mean, I tell people before, like I've told many people, like, oh, what do you use? So I was like, Final Cut, and they're like, look at me kind of like, what are you serious? Like, I thought that was kind of like just a like little nicer version of iMovie, and I don't know, maybe for a time it was, but I like it. So just found your channel, sub. 2 people. Subtrain, let's go. King of Heroes, thank you. Coach Plugged In, thank you so much for subbing to the channel. Highly appreciate it. Hey, if you're getting value out of the video, or if you're just mildly entertained, go ahead and throw a like on the video. Really helps out, and I appreciate it. Have you done any 4K video editing with the M1 Mac at all? How's the overall video editing experience like? So yes, I have done 4K editing on this MacBook. It's been great. Like you really don't experience any sort of dropped frames. Again, I'm using Final Cut, which is currently the only video editor I think that's optimized for the M1 chip, and it's been really, really good. Typically my export times are really fast. I did like an hour-long video with like a bunch of layers and multicam and stuff. It was a service that I was putting together for a church, and it was like an hour long, and I think my export was like 25 minutes, and that was like a 1080, but it was a mix of 1080 and 4K shots and stuff. So I think overall it was like 8 gigs, and it spit it out in like 25 minutes, I think. So anyway, I think that's pretty quick in comparison to what I was coming from, which was just a baseline 2019 MacBook. But for 4K, all my videos that I upload to YouTube are in 4K. I edit them all on this computer. I have no regrets. It's very quick, very snappy. There are still some different programs and different, like I have some audio plugins from this company called Waves that are not yet compatible with the M1 chip. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. If I really want to use them, I gotta try to find a workaround. So that's the only like gripe, but overall super happy. Battery life is incredible. Edits really, really well, even on a battery. And what was the other thing that I was going to mention too? Oh yeah, fan doesn't kick on like ever. And that's kind of unheard of with a MacBook. So anyway, that's what I really enjoy about this thing. So yeah, and I mean, I used my old MacBook for doing these streams, and like basically the entire time this thing would fire up like a jet engine, which is really not that great. There's also the memes where people are like, oh yeah, your M1 MacBook like doesn't throttle or doesn't heat up, but you know, you don't have a space heater anymore. Like the old one, like if you were in the winter time, you could use it as a space heater. So all that fun stuff. Sorry, very thirsty today. All right, what else do we got here? Any other questions here in the chat? Don't see any at the current point in time. There was something about, somebody mentioned something about capture cards. Do you have 2 capture cards? Yeah. Capture cards are awesome. Yeah, it's amazing too. I think really with, you know, COVID and shutdowns and stuff, I think that's why live streaming is really big. It's really important right now to like, I mean, now it's kind of like later in the game, but it's never too late to just jump in and start doing some streaming. Sorry, my hair is insane today. But I wanted to jump into streaming because I just wanted to connect more with the audience. And there's a ton of people who are obviously trying to use their cameras as webcams. Like to date, my most popular video on my channel is how to use a Sony camera as a webcam for free. And I have that video is still live, and then I did another updated version of it because Sony did an update to their, or they actually released a actual Sony software that does it, and it's good. Works fine. The only thing is that you can't do audio with the free versions because it's like a USB to the camera, and then it doesn't take the audio from the camera. But so to stream, like if you didn't have one of these capture cards or a capture card like it, it's kind of impossible. And it was for the longest time, like you had to spend at least like $120 to get a capture card, like something that's at least worth using, or at least $100. So shortly after like COVID hit, these little guys came out, and I think people were super skeptical because it's like, how can you get, you know, capture cards are supposed to cost $100 or 120 or 220 bucks. How can you get one for like $16 and like expect it to be good? But for what it is, like understanding it's USB 2.0, the max resolution is 1080, 30 frames per second. If you're okay with all of that, these things are awesome. And then you get your audio into your camera. You can use whatever mic setup you have. And yeah, it looks really nice. And then you can pair that with something like OBS. So even here, you can do like little color corrections. You can add different filters. And then you can set up nice scenes like this. You know, makes your YouTube live streaming look really professional. Hey, oh, hi Zach. Is it Deb? I can't remember your name exactly, but I know. Driven by Vlad. I wonder if that's my friend Vladislav. It's good to see everybody here today. Hope you're doing really well. Hey, if you have more questions for me, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to probably keep rambling on a little bit about live streaming. And love the lamp on the table. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, got one of my Edison bulbs back there. And then I mentioned that over my right shoulder, we got this kind of a situation. What? That's right. Nice little RGB. Good fun stuff. You know, it's all about having fun. It is Deb. Okay, thank you, Deb. Good to see you. So, yeah, live streaming is really good. I think it's just a really good exercise for, like creators, like if you're doing YouTube videos or if you do social media or anything like that. It's just really great to like stretch yourself to just talk for, right now we've been going for 40 minutes and I think, it's just a really good exercise to kind of like force yourself into, talking more, getting more creative, learning how to present, learning how to speak. Really, really powerful stuff. Can you set latency on OBS? So you can when it comes to your audio. Let me go ahead and swap it here. So you can set audio latency, like you can do offset on the audio. On a visual side of things, I believe you can as well. I'm not sure what I can find out while I'm streaming. So different bit rates, encoders, things of that nature. I have a feeling that you can, but I'm not 100% sure. A lot of this too, like when it comes to your quality and speed as it hits YouTube, is you just need to make sure that your internet is decent enough. As you can see, I'm not connected to Ethernet, and I don't have the best Wi-Fi. I've got like, we have Spectrum out here. It's our only option, and we only get 2 package options, and we currently have like the baseline package. I don't do speed tests or anything like that. Like, I know I'm not really a pro, I guess, when it comes to all that stuff, or I guess even care enough about it. So I haven't done any speed tests to know what my ups, what my downs are. But right now, the only other device that's active, I think, is just my phone, because my wife's at work right now. And then this computer, I don't have my Apple TV going or anything like that. So connection's good. I think the only thing is you got to make sure to set your bit rate for your video. And I think YouTube likes 4,500 for your bit rate. So if you're looking to get started, you can check it out. But yeah, the latency, I think too, the capture cards help to reduce some of that latency for sure. Because like those free methods that I mentioned, well, like that I've done videos on in the past, they have a little bit of latency if you try to like connect your audio through a different source. And then you can try to sync it up, but it's still a little bit of a hassle. I feel that it's very low latency now. Well, awesome. That's good to know. Is there a way to show screen capture on OBS? Might be cool for tutorials. And do you get drop frames? So since I started this stream, we have 0.2% of dropped frames. So I think that's pretty good. You can set up a scene. So like we got this, I can set up right now this is desktop. You can do screen capture as well. If you wanted to do a tutorial for OBS, like I could try to set it up right now. But we're gonna get like this whole Inception, like never-ending thing. Let's just go ahead and do it for fun. Why not? Okay, so I'm gonna disable that background. And then there is a display capture. Is that what we need? Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking would happen. So that here, oh yeah, no, it's a hot mess. Let me get rid of it now. Oh no, I turned my audio off for a second. So yeah, you can do display capture, but I wouldn't want to live stream it. Yeah. So there is that. But when it comes to like tutorials, if I'm doing like recorded videos with tutorials, like I'm trying to do at least like one a week if I can. For stuff like that, I'll typically just do a screen recording on my computer itself. So I'll use QuickTime, which is a Mac software for like playback on videos, but it'll also allow you to do screen recording. So I do QuickTime, I'll open up a QuickTime thing, start a new screen recording, make sure that the computer microphone is on, and then when I'm recording to like my camera with a different microphone, I can sync that audio up in post, and then I can just do my cuts, or if I wanted to do some sort of a picture-in-picture thing like what I was just showing you, I can do that, you know, in post. So that would be for a YouTube scenario. If I wasn't trying to show you how OBS works and I wanted to just show you some other stuff, like maybe a Photoshop tutorial, or if it was, you know, surfing the web like we've done, then I can do picture-in-picture, no problem. But specifically showing OBS is just a little bit of, yeah, just as you saw, it's a little weird. Hey, if you're getting value, if you haven't dropped a like, please do. We greatly appreciate it. Okay, a couple of things here. Thoughts on the studio grade mic in the M1 MacBook Pro. I haven't even really tested it, so I can't really speak to it. I think Apple does funny things with their marketing where they say things are pro, or they say things are studio grade, or they're max, all that type of stuff. I would not consider it a studio microphone, because studio microphones are expensive and they're normally really big and awesome. So, I mean, I'm sure it's fine. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable doing like my voiceover stuff for a YouTube video with it, but you know, it probably could work in a pinch. But honestly, I might just go to like using my iPhone instead, because I can, unless I'm gonna get like way down close to my MacBook, I can just have this real close to my mouth and probably get a better sound. So those are my thoughts on that. How do you make your background blur? So it's a good question. So you can do, there's a few factors that go into making background blur. So right now my background is kind of blurred out, but if I'm gonna put my hand towards the lens and you'll see it blur even more. So now it's like really blurry. So there's a couple of things that make this happen. So the blur, you know, the background blur is called depth of field. So there's a thing that happens between the sensor on your camera, and this is the same for, you know, not a full frame sensor. It could be a crop sensor. It could be, you know, your phone. There's this thing where between the sensor and the lens and your subject, like if you have a lens that has a low aperture, so this lens is a wide angle lens, but it has an aperture of f1.8, basically meaning that the iris of the lens can open up really wide to allow more light in. And not only that, but it allows you to get more separation from the background. Now it's a wide lens though, so it kind of, you have to get really close in order for the effect to really be sold. If we go to camera 2, this is a 35 millimeter, but on this camera it kind of looks like a 50, and you can notice like I have right here in focus, but if I get closer I'm out of focus, and then back here with like my other lenses, this little light and stuff, this is out of focus. So it's because I've got that 1.8 on here, but then if you're able to get a little bit of compression, get, your subject separated from the background enough, then that also helps to create some of that blur effect. So let's say the subject was going to be the lights, and again, using my hand as, or my subject will be the hand, background will be the lights, because I'm getting it close to the lens with a low aperture. It's going to blur everything out really nicely. It looks really, really good. So I could even set up on this camera like a really tight lens. Let's do that just for funsies. For funsies, I'm going to take off this camera lens, and I'm going to throw this. I don't even know if I'll be in focus because I don't have to get so stinking close. But for fun, I'm going to throw on an 85 millimeter as opposed to a 20. So now, yeah, it's like way in my face. So I'm going to have to back up. But just to show you that if you have a longer focal length, then you get more what they call compression that separates from the background even more. So we're gonna do this now. Boom. So now it's like, it's tough to tell. It's tough to show you because now there's not a ton in the background, but it's very blurred out behind me. There's no subjects behind me to even really show it off. I'm gonna see if I can turn this around. Very close. We're going there. We're very close today. So let's see if we can get something else in the background. Okay, so there's the light now. That same light. What's up? So getting a lot more separation. 85 millimeters. You gotta be a little further away, but it just enables you to get more separation from the background. So this is like that really professional portrait, focal length, look, all of that good stuff. So that's how that works. Hopefully that helps. I need to switch this back now. Come on. Because this is way too tight for this shot. Okay, let's try that. Much better. Much, much better. Coolio. So let's get to the chat. Hopefully that helped you out. Fantastic autofocusing. Yes, that is one benefit to Sony cameras and their lenses. Autofocus is really solid. And this is the A7 III. This camera is, I think, 3 years old now. Autofocus is super great. Sometimes too, even like the second camera over here. Oop, this camera, I have it on manual focus right now, but that lens in particular, that 35 1.8 focuses super well. This 20 millimeter f1.8, they both have the same focus motor. It's like one of Sony's newest focusing motors for their lenses. It's so snappy, it's so fast. I absolutely love it. Any other questions there in the chat? Check it out. Getting close to an hour. My stomach is still rumbling. I'm gonna eventually need to eat and get some more coffee. Okay, the J's is it is an app when you don't have a DSLR camera. You can use your own mobile as your webcam. Yeah, there is a method. If you look up Think Media, Think Media has a ton of helpful tutorials. They have a video on there showing you how to use your mobile phone as a webcam. Excuse me. It's just like downloading an app to your phone and then just like having that be active. And yeah, even your phone's camera, depending on the phone that you have, that's probably going to be much nicer. Excuse me. I feel like I'm struggling here. But even the phone's camera is going to look better than probably most webcams that are built into a laptop. So I also did put a recommendation down in the description of just like a webcam that has a ton of high reviews. I think it was around like $40 or so. So that may be worthwhile checking out as well. Cool. Maybe go about 5 more minutes here on the stream so we can hit that 1 hour mark. If you have any other questions, sort of rapid fire, you'd like me to answer, I would love to answer them for you. But I mean, it's 2021. Here we are. Things are still kind of crazy in the world, and we're still very much now heavily leaning on digital media. So I would encourage you, if you have not tried live streaming before, just give it a shot. A couple of tips maybe to help grow your following or your fan base, and this is still me, like right now being in sort of a smaller, definitely a smaller channel, definitely a smaller market. I don't know why I said market, you know what I mean? So smaller channel, I would really encourage you to make sure that you put a theme around whatever it is that you talk about. I've done probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 of these live streams since I started YouTube, and maybe even more than, I feel like it's more than that, maybe closer to 20. But what I've found is that I tend to get more views whenever I put an actual description on the video, a specific thumbnail to the video. So this one obviously is how do you get into YouTube 2021 live streaming. So it's specific, it's searchable. It's more searchable than, say, another one that I've done before, like Let's Hang Out Friday, like a Friday night hangout or whatever live stream. Same thing too, I did one with how to get better audio, where the live stream's content was mostly about, you know, good audio. That was also one that performed really well. And, you know, it can be gaming. Like if you're going to be gaming, you're not going to say, hey, just watch me game. You're going to do the video game. Like if it was, you know, like it's just use Fortnite as an example, like Fortnite season, whatever, you know, blah, 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 blah. You just want to put more descriptive things that help your videos to become more searchable. That's the same thing too when it comes to just videos in general. You just want to make sure that they're searchable. I use a tool called TubeBuddy, which I do have it linked down below if you want to check it out. TubeBuddy, it just helps to make sure that things are optimized and searchable, so that way people can find your videos. Because you don't, if you're starting a vlog channel and you just say, hey, vlog episode 1, vlog episode 2, and people don't know about you, you're probably not going to get a lot of traffic. So it's just really important to do that type of stuff. Do we have a chat? Like a super duper? Come on. That is amazing. That's like my first. That's so cool. Deb, you're incredible. Man, you didn't have to do that. I really appreciate it. Dang. That's awesome. Thanks so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I don't even know what the amount that comes out to in US dollars, but holy cow, thanks so much. That's so generous. I'm just happy that you're here. Time for bed, 1:51 a.m. Thanks for streaming. Deb, you're the champ. I hope that you sleep great and that you get a good start to your sleep. Man, thanks so much, Deb. Appreciate it. Cool. I just got thrown off right there. That's so awesome. Thank you. Okay. Where was I before Deb blessed me? Deb, hope you have a great sleep. Thanks so much. Okay. Let's continue on. Let's go on. You're awesome, Deb. Okay. Budget mirrorless camera for Canon, for budget as a beginner for Canon or Sony. Okay, so I'm a little biased. I really love Sony cameras. If you can, I would ask what your budget is. If you're like real beginner, I know Canon M50 is like one of the most popular cameras like of the past couple of years for people who are beginning. So I would recommend looking somewhere in that direction. That would definitely help you, like for people who are just starting. Sony cameras, there's like the A6100, the 6400, Those are all like the 6100 is kind of like in a comparable price range, I think, from the M50. You know what? We can actually do the research and check it out together. That's not the screen I wanted. I wanted this one. Okay, so let's see here. Canon M50, and they actually have a Mark II, but the Mark I may be on sale now. So you can get like a full camera with a lens. Now it's probably not going to be the greatest lens to get you like that separation or that blur that we were talking about earlier, but $639 for the M50 with a kit lens. What about the Mark II? I'm just curious now. So the Mark II is bundled. Looks like, at least here on Amazon, you don't get really a choice of just the camera. Okay, there it is. So $700. For the Mark II, it's probably going to have some nicer features. If you can hold out and you're saving for a brand new camera, then I'd say go for the Mark II M50. If you like Canon, you know, a lot of people say Canon colors are the best and blah, blah, blah. Sony looks good too. But also used. If you trust the used stuff, which I've bought this camera used, I bought my other camera used. The only thing that I've ever bought brand new as far as like real deal expensive camera gear is actually the lens that I'm shooting on. Even the lens on that camera, I bought that Amazon renewed and it did just fine. Let's go to Sony real quick. Let's do the 6100. I think is going to be the closest comparable thing. Yeah, so it's a bit more, $850. So yeah. Now, if you could find one, I don't know if we can find one on Amazon. I might have to go to eBay. But the A6300, this is a camera that is currently on my B cam. Even the A6000, but that's 1080 only, so I would not suggest that. Can you even find it here? Maybe not. Real quick, let's go to eBay. And I just want to see what the going price of a Sony A6300 is nowadays. And then we'll go to, here's a little trick. If you're on eBay looking for stuff and you want to see what things are going for, you click on sold and completed items. So you can kind of see like the going price. So it's looking like 500, 600 bucks. Yeah, I mean, for the price, and you're beginning and you don't want to mess with some of the little things with some of these older Sony cameras, some of their issues, I'd say just go with the M50. That would probably be the best way to go for you, whether that's a Mark I or a Mark II. Okay, so you have $1,000, under $1,000. So if that's the case, then I would say for under $1,000, okay, less than $1,000, what do you want to get? So if you get that Canon, sorry, I keep going to the wrong screen. All right, so we'll say Canon M50, boom, if that's your camera there, Canon M50, you get a kit lens with it. The kit lens would be fine, but if you really want to get that nice blur and you want something that's a little bit wider, then you want to get a Sigma. I think they make these for the M50 EFM, but we want the 16. Boom. Okay, so this lens is Canon. All right, so this lens would put you right about at your max on your budget, but this is will give you like a wide look for your camera, and it's going to be a f1.4, so it would really help to give you a nice blur in the background. So right now the camera that I'm shooting on is a 20 millimeter, and it's pretty wide. It's f1.8, so you would get a 24 millimeter, which is just a little further up, a little bit more zoomed in, and it would get you at a 1.4, so that'd be pretty nice. I'd say that's a nice little setup right there. Just my thoughts. Cool. What's going on? Hey, from Instagram, I use Sony, but I'm thinking to go Panasonic. That's cool. Panasonics, I would say if you're going to go Panasonic and make a switch over, go for one of their full frame cameras, like the S1, or like, I think the S1 is probably the best. Or now they have like the S5, I think is what it's called. Let me check it out. Let's surf the web. All right. I think it's the Panasonic S5. Yeah. Yeah, the S5 full frame. You can do 4K 60 frames per second. You can get S5 with a lens on it. I mean, the Panasonic, like they had the GH5, which, you know, still is really cool, but I think full frame sensors, like if you're really thinking this camera is going to be something I really want to use for a long time, I'd say just go for the Panasonic full frame. But I would ask you like what your needs are, because although this camera does fantastic video, if you want to do, like if you're looking first of all for autofocus, this camera is not going to do autofocus particularly well. Panasonic has never really been known for good autofocus, because they use a contrast based autofocus, and it's just typically not reliable. It doesn't really stick onto your subjects. It tends to move away. Sony, Canon, both have significantly better autofocus, probably Fuji as well. But the video specs and what you can do with video are fantastic on this camera. Vlog is really great. You know, 4K 60, that's incredible. And it's got great stabilization in the body. I think go to Gerald Undone on YouTube. He's got a really good review talking about the S5 or the S1. Just really, really good stuff there. And they've come a long way from a photo capability. But again, if it's I don't know, I would just check in, just really do your research for your autofocusing and stuff like that. But 10-bit video recording internally, no recording time. I mean, I think that's pretty fantastic. So looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay. What else we got going on here? Any other things? Your Sony cam has 24 megapixels and the Mark II has 32 megapixels. I'll just say megapixels aren't everything. It's kind of like how the cameras use them. If it's like for video stuff, like the brand new Sony A7S Mark III has only 12 megapixels, and that camera crushes the video competition pretty much. Like it looks significantly better than this 24 megapixel camera. So I wouldn't just base it on megapixels, just kind of depends on how the camera uses it. But you know, like anything, do your research, feel it out. The main reason I got started with Sony was because I had a friend who shot Sony, and I kind of learned a lot of my my entry level stuff with him, and he really helped me out. All right, King of Heroes, see you soon. Thanks for watching. I use the A7, the S7 III. I'm guessing the A7S Mark III, but I don't like the super expensive, and we'll sell it to go with the S1H. Okay, cool. If that works for you, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, really, I think it's just finding what works for you. That's the most important thing. So I just knew going into like buying, well, not really my first, well, yeah, a little bit with my first, but especially upgrading to the A7 III. It was just really important for me to get something that works pretty dang good, both in photo and in video capabilities. And so that's why I really love this camera. It just does everything that I needed to do for my needs right now. There are definitely some things that I would like more features for it to have, but for me, it does the job. So I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, looks like we got some people exiting out of the stream. I think that this may be a good time to wrap things up. Hey, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you got value or if you're just mildly entertained, leave a like on the video. Thanks so much for all of your support. 2021 is a fantastic year so far. Okay, sorry, just got one other, couple other things here in the chat that I would love to answer. Okay. Do you have any tips on improving storytelling in YouTube videos? I just uploaded a video on my channel where I included the storytelling aspect for the first time, so I'm still trying to learn. Yeah, if I can, I'll check it out. But story is just the most important thing. Like when you talk about like Hollywood, like good Hollywood movies, there are certainly movies that visually it's like I just want to watch it because it's visually stunning, or they did some really creative things here or there. But generally story is the most important thing. And yeah, just learning how to tell a story, you know, beginning, middle, end. What do you want people to think? What do you want them to walk away with? Are good questions to ask. Maybe what do you want people to feel? And then those are things that should help dictate how you tell the story. I mean, then you can really get deep with what's the color of your video, like what's the feel, what's the mood, what kind of music are you doing? Are you doing slow motion? Are you doing 24 frames per second? All these different things go into the storytelling process. And I think it's really important though. Like I did a vlog recently and I really didn't do it with the intention of, hey, I'm going to put this out on YouTube and it's going to get a bunch of views or whatever. It's just, I wanted to create something for my wife and I to go back and look at. And for us, it just brings us back to, it was only a few weeks ago, but it just kind of like brings us back to, oh, the trip. Oh yeah, we did this. Oh, that was so much fun. And I got a lot of good responses, got like texts and messages from friends that just really enjoyed the video because I think it had that storytelling aspect. I need coffee. Storytelling aspect to it. And if you can get really familiar with that, like I said, kind of beginning, middle, end, what do you want people to walk away with? How do you want them to feel after watching it? Do you want them to feel inspired? Do you want them to, I don't know, just be entertained? Like one of my biggest recommendations is go check out like Casey Neistat vlogs or like older Casey Neistat videos. Because even though he vlogs, he just does it in a really creative storytelling way that you don't want to like click off until you see the very end, like until you get the payoff of the video being complete. So yeah, that'd be my recommendation. I actually tried to match my lighting and grading for the story. Thanks for the tips. Absolutely. Yeah. Keep trying things, you know, see how people respond and, you know, take the feedback, take the lessons that you learn in each video and just try to build upon it for the next one. What is the first camera in your life? So the first one that I ever purchased is this one over here. It's a Sony a6300. I bought it off recommendation from a friend who I trusted, and I don't regret it at all. The camera's great. I mean, it's old tech right now, but the autofocus is still pretty reliable. It's great. Colors have a little bit of inconsistency. These older ones in particular too, they had a tendency to overheat, especially when you're shooting 4K. So there's some of that, but it's cool because you can hack these older cameras. So like even this one here, the A7 III has a limitation of a 29-minute recording limit. You can hack the older Sony cameras to do a unlimited recording, and then you're just limited by battery life, storage, different things like that. But that was the first camera in my life. Okay, y'all. I need food and I need coffee. So I'm gonna go take care of that. And I've tried stopping this, or I tried ending the stream once before, but we just got some more questions. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like the video, comment, watch it again, check out the links below if you're interested in any of the stuff that I talked about, and I'll just see you in the next stream. All right, peace.